Now, when you buy the Sega Genesis that comes with Sonic 1, you'll get Sonic 2 absolutely free. Sonic 2 handles stubborn stains, embarrassing bald spots, no problem. It even slices and dices, makes thousands of julienne fries. But wait, you can play it too. This free Sonic 2 is a $54.99 value. You get 2 Sonics for the price of 1. Sonic 2 fits easily into any tackle box. Made from a space-age polymer plastic for years of family fun. And pets love it too. Buy the Sega Genesis that comes with Sonic 1 and get Sonic 2 free.
Act now. Wiener Dog sweater sold separately.
Greetings everyone, old and new, welcome to Haseo Reviews. And before I get started here, yes, Sonic 2 is objectively better than Sonic 1. I know I usually play the part of the unaware newbie looking at a game with fresh eyes, but come on. Everyone, whether they've played Sonic 2 or not, knows that Sonic 2 is where the franchise got its proper start. So excuse me if this video doesn't really add anything new to the conversation. However, while I do accept that Sonic 2 is a superior game to Sonic 1, I don't think that necessarily makes it the flawless classic that's been hailed as since its debut in 1992. But before I give away too many of my thoughts, let's delve into a little history. By the way, I apologize for how nasally I sound in this video. My allergies are really kicking the shit out of me. Following the release and success of Sonic 1, Sega knew they finally had a potential mascot franchise on their hands, but there was a split in Sonic Team on what direction the next game should go in that led to Sonic 1 lead programmer Yuji Naka leaving Sega of Japan to join Sega of America, at the time known as Sega Technical Institute, or STI for short. STI. Naka worked with the American Sega staff to create a Sonic game that refined areas the original faltered in, while also vastly expanding its scope, with the original plan to have Sonic trying to stop Dr. Robotnik from rewriting history, a plot that had to be scrapped entirely due to time and hardware constraints. Many levels had to be axed before they could be completed as well, most famously Wood Zone, Hidden Palace Zone, and the infamous solely for its name, Genocide City Zone. Once the game was completed, Sega gave it one of their biggest marketing pushes in the company's history, hyping up its international release date of Tuesday, November 24th as Sonic Tuesday, inadvertently starting the industry practice of releasing video games on Tuesdays. The finished plot would see Dr. Robotnik constructing a massive space station known as the Death Egg in an attempt to conquer the world, with Sonic, accompanied this time by his new partner Tails, traveling through West Side Island and eventually into space to stop him. Upon booting up the game, we get that classic Sega, "Wait, slow down, Sonic, you're going too fast!" This game already has a lot more of that 90s attitude-filled personality than the original, perfectly demonstrated by the new title screen, which takes the template of the first game's title and spruces it up a bit. The sprite work overall is much nicer to look at. I think this darker shade of blue on Sonic works way better than the more powdery shade they had in Sonic 1, and his animations are more fluid as well. I didn't mention the graphics or music in my review of the first game because that review was rushed to meet a deadline, and because I really didn't have any thoughts on the original's graphics and sound, either positive or negative. Sonic 2, however, knocks it out of the park with both visuals and music. Just compare how much more energetic the first stage themes are between Sonic 1 and 2. Sonic feels noticeably tighter to control here compared to the first game. That's not to say the first game controlled badly, but Sonic 2's physics just feel better, coupled with the vastly improved level design that emphasizes building up speed more than the Mario-style precision platforming that the original focused on. All of that is apparent as soon as you start the first zone, Emerald Hill, which takes everything that Green Hill Zone did right and cranks it up to 11. There's more pathways, more stretches of flat land to build up speed, the spike bug has thankfully been fixed, the enemy placement isn't as haphazard, and all that combined makes an excellent first impression for how the rest of the game will play out. New to Sonic's arsenal is the spin dash. By holding the down button on the D-pad and repeatedly pressing any of the jump buttons, Sonic can rev up in place. By releasing the buttons, Sonic gets an instant boost of speed and demolishes nearly anything in his way, allowing the player to either use the move offensively or just as a way to move faster. Tails follows the player wherever they go and mimics their actions with a slight delay, effectively acting as a computer-controlled second player. In fact, if you plug in a second controller, you can have a second player control Tails manually for some co-op shenanigans, but I didn't get the chance to try that out in time for this review. While Sonic 2 has more zones in total than Sonic 1, they don't overstay their welcome nearly as bad as they did in Sonic 1, with one glaring exception. Instead of each zone consisting of 3 acts with a boss fight at the end of Act 3, Sonic 2 trims the fat and gives us 2 acts per zone for the most part, with a boss fight against one of Dr. Robotnik's mechs at the end of Act 2. None of these boss fights are particularly challenging, with the noteworthy exception of Oil Ocean Zone's boss. Seriously, f*** everything about this fight. And some, namely Aquatic Ruins boss, can be cheesed entirely if you know how to exploit the mechanics of each fight. The new mechanics, better overall level design, and streamlined stage count make this game the perfect fodder for speedrunning, if you're so inclined. Alright, I've gushed about how much better Emerald Hill is than Green Hill. Let's take a quick look at the rest of the levels. Chemical Plant Zone is a mix of a factory level and a water level, with the lower path submerged under this pink liquid that acts just like water did in Sonic 1, i.e. slows you down, makes you jump higher, and Sonic drowns if he stays in it too long, encouraging the player to be on their A game so they can stay on the upper paths as much as possible. Act 2 has its fair share of bullshit though. First, there's this path leading right up to the boss fight with this spring that just sends you to a watery grave if you use it, and if I had a quarter for every time I either fell to my death in the Robotnik boss fight or beat Robotnik only for the floor to flip over before I landed, sending me to my death, I'd have at least enough money to buy myself a foot-long sub at Harris Teeter. Aquatic Ruin Zone! Am I the only one who finds it weird that there are 2 water zones in a row? This one disorients me so much because of all the different layers making it hard for me to focus. It's not abysmal like Labyrinth Zone in Sonic 1 was, but most of the zone can be summed up with water, damn it, and damn it, I fell in the water. Casino Night Zone is one giant breather level, allowing the player to rack up on lives and continues through the numerous slot machines and obstacles that reward points for breaking them. There's several sections that use Sonic as a makeshift pinball to shoot him into the next area, but the physics are a little stiff here. Hilltop Zone. It's bland and unmemorable, but the music will always be stuck in my head because of this ancient troll video that's still on YouTube at the time of this recording, called Top 27 Anime Boobs. Early YouTube was weird. Mystic Cave Zone relies a lot on pulleys and levers to open up bridges and pathways, and has some of my favorite backgrounds in music in the game. It's also infamous for this one pitfall here that leads to a row of spikes rather than a traditional bottomless pit. There's no way to escape it once you're in there, so it might as well just be a death pit, but I guess whoever was in charge of level design for this level felt particularly d***ish that day. Let's take a quick break from the quickie zone reviews and talk about special stages, because unlike Sonic 1, I actually bothered to collect all the Chaos Emeralds this time. For better or worse. Rather than reaching the end of the level with at least 50 rings and jumping into the giant ring at the end, Sonic 2 makes the player collect at least 50 rings, touch a checkpoint, then jump into the stars that appear above it to be teleported to one of 7 special stages. It offers the player far more opportunities to get all the Chaos Emeralds since there's multiple checkpoints per stage, but it's still nerve-wracking to hold on to those 50 rings until you reach the next checkpoint, especially since the larger, more sprawling levels make it harder to come across every checkpoint the level has to offer, unless you already know the level like the back of your hand. Rather than a playable acid trip, Sonic 2 special stages put Sonic and Tails in a half-pipe divided into 3 sections, tasked with collecting a minimum amount of rings before they reach the end of each section, and avoiding bombs that make Sonic and Tails drop rings when touched. See this here? This is how long my first chunk of Sonic 2 footage was, and most of that was solely me trying and failing repeatedly to get all the Chaos Emeralds, because between the low frame rate, poor draw distance, slippery controls, Tails fucking up everything on a constant basis, and strict ring requirements, I spend hours upon hours replaying all 7 of these special stages, abusing the hell out of the save state feature built into the Genesis Mini I played this on. These special stages nearly broke me. But I did it. I persevered and beat all 7, gathering all of the Chaos Emeralds. And what do you get for this task? 2 words. Supersonic. After gathering all the Chaos Emeralds, Sonic can channel his inner Goku and transform into Supersonic by collecting 50 rings and then jumping. He's invincible to everything except pits, crushing, and drowning, moves faster, jumps higher, the music changes to this catchy, energetic loop, and he damages enemies and bosses just by touching them. However, Sonic requires a steady supply of rings to stay in super form, and automatically loses 1 ring every second. Once the counter reaches 0, he reverts back to regular Sonic, which leaves him completely vulnerable if you happen to transform back in an area with no more rings to collect. He's also very twitchy to control in the few precision platforming segments the game challenges you with, offering a good risk versus reward for using Supersonic. To put it simply, don't let your newfound power go to your head. Anyway, back to the zone rundown with Oil Ocean Zone. It sucks. Metropolis Zone. This is where the game really starts to fall apart. So much of the game leading up to this was either a blast to play or at least visually interesting, but Metropolis really feels like a rush job. First of all, 3 acts instead of the now standard 2. May I ask why? It doesn't help that the layout is incredibly obnoxious and the assets are visually bland, but the cherry on the dog sundae is cheap enemies placed in the cheapest places possible. Good luck getting through this gauntlet of a zone unscathed. The last leg of the game ditches the whole zone and act setup in favor of singular stages. First, we have Sky Chase, an auto-scroller that places Sonic on top of the Tornado, a plane piloted by Tails. You don't have to worry about falling off the plane here, thankfully, but the level still manages to feel cramped thanks to the abundance of enemies and the inability to advance at your own pace. This is immediately followed up by Wing Fortress Zone, the bane of my existence. First of all, Tails gets shot down in the opening, and this is not a cutscene. If you don't jump off the tornado before it falls, you die. This whole stage just reeks of jank. Instead of having you go left to right like the rest of the game, it has you going up, down, and all around. It doesn't feel like a Sonic 2 stage, it feels more like something from one of those early home computer platformers with nonsensical maze-like layouts. There's also these launch pads all over the place that I have no idea how they work, because sometimes they send me flying, and sometimes, especially in the last leg of the stage, they just awkwardly lob me into a pit. This is the only section of the whole game they're in, and the end of the game is not where you should be introducing new gimmicks and mechanics to the player. Lastly, it goes back to Sonic 1's fetish for slow, methodical platforming instead of letting the player go fast, so it feels like a slog to go through. Defeating the boss of Wing Fortress leads to a scene where Sonic chases after and hitches a ride on Robotnik's escape rocket, following him to the final area of the game, the Death Egg. The Death Egg isn't a traditional level per se. Instead, it's a boss gauntlet with 0 rings whatsoever, meaning the player essentially has to do a no-hit run against 2 back-to-back bosses with no checkpoints in between to defeat Dr. Robotnik once and for all. First is a robot duplicate of Sonic. This mini-boss, known alternately as either Mecha Sonic, Robo Sonic, or Silver Sonic, became something of a fan favorite for being Robotnik's first attempt at an evil robot Sonic, coupled with its Cylon-like design. I beat it in a few seconds thanks to bullshit. After beating his robot doppelganger, Sonic faces off against Robotnik's final mech, the Death Egg robot, an aptly named giant machine of death styled after Robotnik's appearance, armed with spiked hands, rocket boosters, and a bomb launcher. This boss isn't too difficult as long as you play it safe and learn where it's safe to hit it without getting hit yourself, which can admittedly be a bit chance-based because I counted several times where I just phased through its hitbox and then died from contact damage. After defeating the Death Egg robot, the Death Egg begins to self-destruct and Sonic makes a run for it. We cut to a scene of Tails and all the little animals looking up at the explosion in the sky, presumably wondering if Sonic survived. We then see Sonic falling from the sky, but before he plummets to the ground, Tails swoops in with the tornado to catch him, all the while accompanied by a beautiful Genesis chiptune rendition of Sweet Dreams by Dreams Come True. Sonic turns into Supersonic, flies off, and the game ends. Absolutely perfect. So overall, what do I think of Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Well, apart from what I said at the beginning, of course. Sonic 2 improves on damn near everything that Sonic 1 did wrong, but isn't flawless. The latter third or so of the game really drags and just isn't fun to play. I like that the hunt for the Chaos Emeralds was made more rewarding, but whether the payoff for that hunt will be worth it all depends on whether or not you enjoy the half-pipe stage formula, which would be revisited and improved in future games. Tails is a welcome addition, but he doesn't help as much as I had hoped he would due to lacking his signature flight ability in this appearance, at least in gameplay. Overall, Sonic 2 is a perfect example of a sequel improving on its predecessor's foundation, but there's definitely still room for improvement here. So obviously Sega saw the success of Sonic 2 and immediately began working on Sonic 3, right? And not exactly. Remember how I said that Sonic Team was split in two with the American staff making this game? Well, next time, we'll be looking at what the Japanese staff put together with Sonic CD for the Sega CD. I'm Haseo, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey guys, gals, and everything in between, thanks for checking out the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to see more from me in the future, make sure to click subscribe and then hit the bell so you can stay notified on my upcoming uploads. Check out my Patreon if you want to see videos like this early, as well as get a couple other perks. And next time, I'll be seeing you with Sonic CD.